Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Super Sunday podcast. We are here with the regular guests that are Toby, Curtis and Aidan. Back to do the monthly Super Sunday episode on basically football, because that's the sport that we're all knowledgeable about. And I'm sure if we tried...
No, keep going.
I'm sure if we branch out into other sports, we'll start to end up getting slated. So,
I'm not gonna lie, we're probably getting slated already, but
I mean,
with our immense knowledge of the game.
I mean, who was Arsenal's invincible right back?
Arsenal's invincible right back was Lauren, but I was right in that he was a squad rotation player. Roll, just
Right. So, first topic on the agenda today, I seem only fit to discuss that today should have been the start of Euro 2020.
devastating.
Yeah, bad.
Let's have a moment of silence just to commemorate the fact that we've lost Euro 2020.
Well, technically, no, we haven't, because it's
until
still
2021.
Euro 2020, even though it's in 2021.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So we've not got
Silence.
we've not got this competition. So let's refer back to the last international competition we had. Let's scrap the Nations League because that don't count. World Cup 2018.
Well, it was a hell of a lot of improvement on the 2016 Euros. Hell of a big improvement, that's one thing.
Yeah. The World Cup 2018. That was. I don't know. I don't know if it's because like every time you're 4 years older, so it's a lot different to experience anyway. But definitely the transition from 2014 to 2018, sorry, that was massively different for me. I don't know. I couldn't tell you if it was the manager or the new squad, but we always have to seem to have some sort of renewed faith that we're going to win it this time. And we got so close.
It's the added every major tournament, it's coming home. Even if we've got a terrible squad that couldn't even get past the groups if we were lucky, we still think we will, or we hope we will. 2018 was definitely probably the best one. I don't know about you lot, but the best one I've experienced. Obviously, England did terrifically well. It was the first World Cup for most of us, all of us, I'm guessing, that we could go out, we could, go to the pub and watch a match or something, and there'd be nothing weird about it. Whereas 2014, a bit younger, you don't appreciate it as much.
Depends. If you're in Spain watching it, you'll be able to drink anyway. So
Yeah.
True, that's true. And some of us were on the wrong side of the bar, Aidan. So
yeah.
watch what you say.
World Cup. No.
I was working for that semi-final fixture, and the first goal went in. Everyone was getting drinks. It was fine. And then the equaliser, and then the winner, and there was no more drinks for the rest of the night. That was it. Everyone went back
Shuts
up to their
the bar.
rooms.
Everyone get out.
Shut us down.
I mean, from the beginning, the first match, we squeezed 2-1 past Tunisia. And I think the one thing that made it so much better for me was I watched it all with my mates. Every England match, I'd be like, at least with one other mate at their house or at my house, we'd have like a takeaway, we'd have a few drinks and stuff like that. It just made it, the whole experience, a lot more exciting. And when Harry Kane started banging them in, and the thing started to turn our way with the whole sort of shift with corners, like we had that kind of train that would just attack, and then the opposition just couldn't handle it, so they just drag us down. Penalty, easy money.
Yeah.
And easiest golden boot ever, really. But I think that's what started that sort of belief, that true belief, because there's always the cynics who don't really, who say, oh yeah, it's just another tournament, well, we always do this. But then people sort of started to stop and think that this could be it now.
I think in terms of watching it from a home perspective, because you see everyone's reactions to it, on Facebook where you got them videos of everyone in like London, Camden, everyone's, a goal goes in and 50 pints go up in the air and
Drenched.
it looks insane. And I think the turning point was when even those that don't like football were starting to get on the bandwagon, you know.
Well, it was that because it was just the best summer because the weather was amazing every day.
Yeah.
You had World Cup in the evening. I mean, I didn't really watch it, but I know some people were into Love Island and that was on at the same time. So there was something to do. I know it's crap. There was something to do.
You love Love Island.
I watched 2 episodes, all right?
You'll never get that.
I didn't get the point of it. I didn't get the point of it. If I was in Love Island, I'd be sat in the pool on a lilo with a pint in hand and a dad bod for days. Just like, all right, darling.
I'm here for the holiday.
Anyway, we digress.
Back to Paradigm. But yeah, because everyone was out and about every day. It didn't even matter if England were playing. You'd see people in the pub for Russia v Algeria or something. You'd see random games and people would still come and watch it because it was just part of the atmosphere.
I tell you what, as a whole, over everything that's happened, I will never knock Colombia versus Japan again. I will watch that fixture if I want. I will not knock.
Nah, South Korea, Germany. That game when you just saw them pull off the impossible, that was fantastic.
Oh, Germany was terrible.
Heung-min Son ruining Boateng, whatever their squad was, running the whole length of the pitch past Neuer because he'd gone up for a corner. I remember watching that game.
And from an England fan's point of view, it really brought the fan base back to life because in 2016 we hit, as we thought every year we keep saying we've hit rock bottom with this England team since the golden generation, but 2016 at those Euros we really hit rock bottom. There was that was one of the worst England sides ever fielded, and so to come back within 2 years from that, to set the country on fire, to think actually we're back. That was one hell of a transformation. It was a real
turnaround from Harry Kane to taking corners to Harry Kane being in the middle because he's 6'2". So he goes in the middle. He doesn't take the corners, and we had Kieran Trippier take the corners, and we do 10 times better. And he also pings in them free kicks as well.
Wayne Rooney over Jamie Vardy, tactical genius there from Roy.
Oh, big Roy.
He really liked Wayne, didn't he?
He did.
Absolutely loved
Bit too much.
I reckon he had a bet that Rooney was going to become England's all-time top goal scorer, and he just wanted that to come true. Play him every game, boys. Play him. Why? I've got 50 grand right now.
Got a lot of money riding on this.
Just on the touchline, give it to Wayne.
Yeah. That's proper tactics, that.
I mean, the only person who probably didn't get that message was Harry Kane because he don't pass. So
we'll get on to that. I think we'll get on to that.
Yeah.
I think journey from like the group stages, and you know, we like going back to sort of belief again. We saw the demise of Spain very quickly. They weren't performing, and then Germany they ended up losing out to Korea. That's 2 of the big hitters already out of the competition. And I think that sort of paved the way for us to have the easy route.
I'm gonna rewind a bit before the World Cup because I remember we played 3 friendlies against France, Spain, and Germany, and we beat them all. We beat France 2-0, 2-1, I think. We beat Spain, and then we were 2-0 down against Germany and come back to win 3-2. You know, friendlies before the World Cup, we never knew where it had come from, and I think France, you know, even France, its 4th squad of Mandanda in goal, and you know, they have bigger players that if Laporte, Varane, Umtiti, Lenglet, they weren't injured, they still have 2 good solid centre-backs to replace them. Or again, Belgium, such a young squad, and yeah, their defence is getting old, but then they've got Meunier, and then, I mean, Alderweireld's still 29, 30-ish. And so each team we were beating, we never really had, I don't think we had much hope getting past Colombia.
Yeah, like I think the idea that we had an easy ride is a bit harsh, to be honest, because we beat Colombia. You can't write them off. They are a decent side. We also beat Sweden. Sweden have always been like our bogeyman throughout the years. They're always the team that we always seem to have a few headaches against, but we beat them.
Yeah.
And while we did have easy games, it wasn't the easiest route. You still had obstacles that we had to overcome. And we got to the semi-final, so you can't write them off.
Oh, yeah, we got to the semis, and that is a great achievement. You can't knock it. I think part of it was tactics as well, because we finished second in the group, if I'm right. Belgium finished top.
Yeah.
It was the game against Belgium, and basically the winner of that went top. But I think we deliberately played a slightly weaker team, because I think it was either Colombia we played or Japan, and Japan had done slightly better. So I think and then that would lead to a harder quarterfinal. So I think the way Gareth Southgate sort of structured it, he thought, right, we'll have an okay round of 16, but then we'll go into a decent quarters and we can actually go further in this thing. So I think it's as much good tactics as it was that we had an easy run, quote unquote, because we didn't, but we didn't have the
I think you're never going to get an easy run in the World Cup. You know, it's the sort of it's the unique competition where every country has, like, it's almost like everyone's sort of nullified and has an equal chance. You always get the 1-2 surprise countries that end up doing extremely well.
It was Korea and Russia, wasn't it?
Russia. Yeah, Russia.
Yeah, nobody expected Russia to do as well as they did.
Yeah, exactly. But I still feel like from what I remember, the different routes, because there's a lot of them like chucked about if X beats Y and A beats B and B and C draw, then this happens. That was probably one of, on paper at least, one of the easier routes. And like you say, Toby, we do tend to struggle against Sweden, and we walk past them. Great stuff, but I think it could have been more difficult. I would persist in that. It could have been more difficult.
I mean, I think England always seems to play the same teams, in the sense Sweden, Israel, Macedonia, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, whatever. We always end up seeming to play the same teams in the playoffs, the qualifiers, or the knockout stage. And I think if we had been in that harder side of the draw, so we had ended up getting Japan and then going on to play probably France sooner than what we'd expected, or Belgium again, we probably would have gone out in the round of 32 quarterfinal.
Belgium would have wiped the floor with us, 100%.
I think
they did twice.
Yeah, with Adnan Januzaj. Let me specify that with Adnan Januzaj.
What happened there? Yeah.
You look at our Euro 2020 group that should have been Croatia, Israel, and Czech Republic.
I'd say aim for top, but should be at least second in that.
Yeah,
I mean, we need to stop playing around from the back, because that's what.
I mean, I don't know. It's certainly an improvement on the Golden Generation's rigid 4-4-2 formation. I think Southgate's definitely brought something more interesting and a little bit more technical to the team's tactics. And that obviously helped us quite a lot. And providing, obviously in the semi-final of the World Cup on the day, we didn't beat Croatia, but we took it right to the wire pretty much, extra time. And then we ended up beating them in the semi-finals of the Nations League.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely learned from that. And I think going into the Euro 2020, we would have certainly stood a chance at topping the group.
Yeah, but the group afterwards, so the way the draw worked, because you know how they now do the games draws in advance, like they do with the Champions League.
Yeah.
We would have ended up either playing Romania, Portugal, France, or Germany.
I think I know who I'd have liked out of that.
Yeah, top of your head.
I would have preferred.
I'd probably go Romania or Portugal. I think I would have preferred out of that.
That does show that exactly like the mentality of England fans, because while we all took away a lot of positives from the 2018 World Cup, we're still reluctant to play the Frances and Germanys. We would rather we know we would still struggle against them. So while we did do well, we know we've still got to improve. We know we've still got a lot of weaknesses, and so but we've got the time. Southgate's in control. We've got a lot of good youngsters that we talked about last week, so there's reason to be optimistic about it.
Yeah, I think an extra year has pretty much bought us. It's bought us a lot of time in relation to other squads. You know, like you look at sort of Spain and Germany, their squads are beginning to the age of their better generations where they were winning the World Cups and dominating these competitions. You know, we've got players like Trent at the back and Joe Gomez. They're going to be developing a whole lot this following year. And I think that'll definitely stand us in good stead for 2021 Euro 2020.
Yeah. And I think that was a good point you made, that the fact that the Spains and your Germanys that were winning it 6, 7, 8 years ago, you know, 2008 Euros was the first proper time we've seen, you know, after France and Italy's reign of like the early 2000s, and then Spain and Germany started coming into it. You know, your South American, Argentina and Brazil, they've always been there, but not quite had that extra leg to push further. That they're beginning to struggle, and Germany, I'd say, have a better squad than Spain now. You know, because Timo Werner versus Diego Costa, I know who I'd rather have as my strike partner.
Yeah. Spanish never really had like a world-class out-and-out striker. You had Torres for a few years, but
not since the 2000s when you had the likes of Raul,
yeah.
I can't really think of anybody that's been. They've had great players. They've had, you know, Diego Costa, world-class.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, their strength has been their midfield and their wingers, but never really their strikers in the past 15 to 20 years, I'd say.
I mean, after Busquets, Iniesta and Xavi, who's their midfield three?
Isco.
Yeah.
Is David Silva still in the national?
Maybe.
Not for much longer.
I'm not sure.
He's about 34 now.
Let me flash score this. Flash score, if you're watching and you want to give this video a sponsor, then feel free. But
casual little plug, you love it.
I'll have a little look. So it's Saul.
He's good. Yeah.
Dani Olmo and Rodri.
Still good midfield, but
not world class.
They're not coming anywhere near the previous three.
Yeah, and then
they're not liable.
There's Kepa in there, who is their next. You know, De Gea's almost 30. Pepe Reina's clearly past it. I don't even know why he's, you know, there. Pau Lopez. So they've got a keeper.
It's your Sarri's favourite player.
But you look at Santi Cazorla's still knocking about in the Spain team.
Is he?
Yeah, there's rumours he could be making moves back to Arsenal. Not necessarily. No. In all seriousness, not necessarily as a full-time player, but as a sub. But he's obviously he had the horrific injury, so his career was kind of cut short. Yeah, but there are rumours like that end up.
He's going to be like a player coach sort of thing.
Exactly. But I must stress, there are rumours that he's coming back. He's refusing to say if he's going to be extending his contract. So
who's he at now? Cazorla?
Villarreal, isn't he?
Yeah, Villarreal.
Johnny from Wolves, he's in the Spain squad.
He's not bad, to be fair.
I mean, I'm looking at the big last match they played, and before that, it was. I mean, when they played Russia in the World Cup, for example, they had De Gea in net, Piqué and Ramos, two centre backs, Alba and Carvajal right back and left back, Koke, Saul and Busquets middle three, David Silva, Isco, Juan Mata, and then Diego Costa. It's quite an old squad to play.
De Gea's not going to be there much longer. I can't see De Gea being offered, given he's sort of gone downhill in recent years. That's another position. I can't think off the top of my head a replacement easily
for Spain or for United.
For Spain.
Kepa. Surely
Yeah.
it's Kepa, isn't it?
He'd be the starter, probably.
Mm.
But he's a bit suspect, you know. He has his times, he has his moments.
League Cup final, Chelsea v City for it, and he wouldn't come off for a penalty shootout.
Yeah, because he was injured, wasn't he? Didn't he get taken out and then...
I don't know if he was injured, but I think because it's a shootout, the manager, I think it was Sarri at the time, wanted to bring him off and bring on the sub, and Kepa just refused. He just wouldn't come off, threw a little temper tantrum and got his way.
It looked like winning that shootout as well.
No, they lost.
No. Peak.
Had he come off, you never know, they might have won. Probably wouldn't have, but you know.
I mean, it's Willy Caballero. Like, you know.
Yeah, they wouldn't have lost anyway.
I know Van Gaal in the 2014 World Cup, was it, where he brought off Sillerson and put on Krul?
Big Tim Krul.
Yeah. Again, Netherlands have got a decent squad coming up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Their two centre-backs, Van Dijk and De Ligt, they're probably going to reign for the next 6-7 years as a centre-back partner. I mean, they're still playing the likes of Ryan Babel, who probably needs to go. But what can you do? When you've got a player... So Ryan Babel was in the Prem, wasn't he, for Liverpool? And he's still making the Netherlands squad. And he doesn't play for Besiktas. He's not a starter for Besiktas, I don't think. And each national team will have that player that doesn't start for their main club.
Mm. Yeah, sort of like the impact sort of player.
Yeah, so off the top of my head, so say if we take an England player, for example,
I think James
Milner, Barkley, they don't play for their main clubs, but they start for England.
Mm.
You know, and again, it's that point that we made last week: club over country, and that will never be solved. And I don't think that's why Italy have failed. Italy over the last 2 European competitions haven't made it. They didn't make the Euros and they didn't make the World Cup.
Did they make the Euros?
I don't know. I'm trying to find all my...
They definitely didn't make the World Cup. I remember that.
Well, they didn't make the World Cup.
I can't remember if they made the Euros. Maybe they did.
The last Euro 20 squad was 2012. It was De Rossi, Pirlo, Marchisio, Motta, Nocerino, like, you know.
Well, just then listing those names, because in 2012 they got to the final, I believe, and they got thrashed by Spain.
Yeah.
But you list the names straight away, Pirlo, all these players that then would have been late 20s, early 30s. So, yeah, after that tournament, I'd say a good majority of that squad must have retired within the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So come 2014, 2016, they've completely gutted their squad. They've got all these young players that give 3-4 years all right, but not ready at the minute. You need to spread out. You need to have youth and experience, I think.
And it shows how far a team can fall, because they went from World Cup winners to not being able to qualify. And when we talk about teams who have got aging squads, they need to be very, very careful that they don't fall into the same trap. They need to invest.
Mm-hmm.
They need to make sure they've got a permanent international team that they can rely on.
Yeah. And that's where teams are being patient, in the sense that De Ligt is 17, 18.
Youngster, isn't he? Yeah.
He's quite young, but it's taken him a while to get through the ranks. Van Dijk kind of came out of left centre, Celtic to Southampton to Liverpool. Had a ropes first season at Liverpool, but then grew into being, I'm going to say arguably, one of the best league centre-back.
You see that often with Southampton, though. They always seem to produce these really promising players that go really far after they leave. You know, like Walcott, Bale, Van Dijk, Mane.
Yeah.
It's probably a load more.
Oxlade-Chamberlain. He was
Yeah.
And
Walcott was a Southampton boy, wasn't he?
He
Like,
was.
that's where he moved to Arsenal.
and it makes you wonder why they don't want to stay. Like, when Spurs bought Bale, they weren't necessarily, I think, they were still knocking around 8th, 9th. Yeah. And it makes you wonder what makes players want to leave. Like, Southampton had one good season where it was Mane, Lambert, and was it Rodriguez?
Lallana, I think.
Lallana. I think.
Well, I suppose it's just when you're a player, you get obviously deeper understanding of the club's position. You get a better understanding of the club's mentality. That's one of the things that Arsenal fans keep saying. We have a vision of our club, but the players don't seem to share it.
Yeah.
And I say, when you're at Southampton, I suppose players who have a deeper insight, they'll understand more about the board's functioning and exactly what the board want to achieve. And if they don't buy into it, they're going to leave.
I think this leads on to our next point quite well in terms of like old players or players leaving or players doing well. Is we've got at current you've got Messi or Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got them two players that have been neck and neck for what, 10 years?
Yeah, getting on to a decade.
Yeah.
At least I remember since we won the Champions League in 2008 was
It's
Messi.
been about 10 to 12 years. It's been just them two dominate world football.
If you wanted to put a time frame on it, basically from the moment Ronaldo joined Madrid,
09.
over that period.
Yeah.
Because he was very good at Man United and he won one Ballon d'Or when he was at United.
Yes.
He won like 4 for Madrid or something stupid like that.
So,
and then that pushes Messi to do better and then it's never ending.
So you've had Messi versus Ronaldo and arguably people like you've got Mbappe versus Neymar. That'll be your next two.
I don't know. I don't think Neymar is past his prime, I think. And he's in Ligue 1. Obviously he's walking it because it's Ligue 1 and it's not anywhere near really the kind of level of the Premier League, at least. He's never set foot in the Premier League. He excites you with what he does in terms of skills, dribbling and stuff like that. But his attitude stinks. I hate him. He's just the worst. And I think that's that sort of the attitude of a player comes into consideration when the winner of the Ballon d'Or is being picked.
Yeah.
Because you have, from the past 12 years, since 2008, only 3 different players have won the Ballon d'Or. It's either been Messi, Ronaldo, or Luka Modric in 2018. And you look at all those players, and they're all incredibly hardworking. They don't, Ronaldo sort of has his moments, or he did when, back in Manchester United days, he would lash out occasionally, or give it back to the ref and stuff like that.
He had a reputation for diving, I think.
Yeah, that as well. But since then, since he's sort of matured, he demonstrates that he does non-stop graphs all the time. And that obviously shows in his game, and it shows in the awards that he wins because he's respected. I don't think Neymar has that respect because he has the talent on the pitch, but he's just an awful individual.
And I think I'll strongly agree with that, yeah, because you look at Ronaldo's mentality. The man's a machine. There's a story, I think it's Bernardeschi, the Juve midfielder. Apparently, Ronaldo would text him once after a training session at 11 o'clock at night. He's home with the wife or something, and Ronaldo messages saying, "Do you want to come to the gym?" They've been training all day. It's now 11 at night, and Ronaldo's still in the gym, still working because he just knows winning. He just knows if I work hard, I will win. he doesn't stop. The man's insane. The same with Messi. But would you see Neymar doing that? I don't think you would. So yeah, I think it is as much about the attitude.
Yeah, Ronaldo. What is he? 35 years old now. That's the age. That's the age some players consider retiring, and yet he's like massive goal count at Juve since he's been there. Like he's nearly averaging a goal per game still.
And people say he's dipping in form.
Yeah.
Which, like if that's him dipping in form.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, matter of fact is he's 35. He's absolutely lightning quick, and you know he's gonna make defenders scared still.
Yeah,
especially if we're in the wing as well.
See that in the team sheet, you're screwed.
Yeah, and it runs the wing as well. Obviously, you get these older players when they start to get on a bit, the legs start to go. They move into the centre, or they move back to the sort of midfield where they can be slightly more sheltered and it's more technical as opposed to physical. But he's still running the wing, absolutely blitzing it at 35. It's frightening to see.
Yeah,
I think in terms of them two, they'll even outdo each other who'll be the first to retire. Like you see Messi keep dipping in and out of Argentina, retirement, not retiring. Then Ronaldo won the Euros for Portugal.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll do the 2018 World Cup. You know, we'll see how far we can get. And I think it'll be Messi to retire first because Ronaldo will just want to keep going and keep going and keep going. And Messi will actually look back and stand back and go, you know what? My time's done here, because you're going to have Kevin De Bruyne, I think, will be a Ballon d'Or winner at some point.
Yeah.
I think possibly, yeah. He's got all the sort of the kind of attributes that we look up to in the other two. He obviously works very hard, and he's an expert at what he does.
And it's very hard for a centre mid to get credit for, you know, why has it always been Messi and Ronaldo? Is it because they're the most attacking players? Is it because they just scored the most goals? Is it a contribution towards the whole team? Or is it just for the fact that Barcelona versus Real Madrid, Ronaldo versus Messi, it's always been that thing from the get-go?
Well, yeah, because you could argue over the years, because it's been all Ronaldo, Messi since 2008, 2009 until 2018 when Modric won it. You could argue there were some players that should have won it or would have won it had those two not been around. Probably should have. So I know 2010, Wesley Sneijder at the time, I believed, was the best player in the world. He won the treble with Inter Milan, which the Inter squad wasn't that great, so they shouldn't be winning the treble. And he got to the final of the World Cup with Holland in the space of a year. For me, that's better than Messi and Ronaldo did that year, no matter how many goals they scored. He contributed more, but he got overlooked for it because Messi and Ronaldo was money, so not ideal.
And I know Messi has said that he wants to retire at his home club back in Argentina. And I could probably see Ronaldo going into coaching at some point. You know, you saw it again with the Euro final when he was on the sidelines injured, but he took over.
Yeah.
You can see the coaches like standing there trying to point and do basic. And Ronaldo's next to him just doing the same thing, but he's screaming at everybody. Like, you can imagine just going onto the pitch and just dragging the centre back backwards or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, I could see him being a proper, like, Fergie, like, drill you down at half time or something. I could see him being a right nasty manager, but, like, a really good one.
Yeah. But because he's worked with, arguably, one of the best managers. He's worked with Fergie. He's worked with Mourinho.
One of the best footballing educations you could possibly have. Like,
yeah.
in terms of managers who can read a game and know how to get the best out of players.
Oh yeah.
Like he got Fergie in his prime, and he got Mourinho in his prime managing him, and so he couldn't have had a better schooling in football, in modern football. What makes a great player?
I mean,
well, other managers again. He had Ancelotti. Was he Madrid manager at one point?
Yes. Let me have a look.
I think Pellegrini as well. So yeah, he's had a lot of brilliant. Sarri at the minute, he's not a bad manager.
I mean, at this point, let's be honest. If a manager's trying to manage Cristiano Ronaldo, it'll probably just be like, yeah, you know what you're doing. Off you go.
Just give the ball. You just give the ball to him.
Yeah.
Let him do what he needs to do. He'll be fine. Don't worry.
So the last 5 has been Zidane, Juan de Ramos, Pellegrini, Mourinho, Ancelotti, and Rafa Benitez.
Zidane as well. Like, just another world-class name.
Yeah, like I remember when he took the Madrid job and he'd never managed before, and everyone's thinking he's gonna,
it's just crazy when you think about it.
But he's won like 3 Champions Leagues or something ridiculous in a row, which is insane.
Consecutive wins, yeah.
I mean, there's still Gary Neville had never managed before, but he went and failed at Valencia. There are players that are trying to make that breakthrough of that step from ex-player to manager. Company tried it at Anderlecht, but I'm pretty sure he ended up just being told.
He got the sack, didn't he?
I think he was like, I'll be a player manager. And then someone came in and went, you just be a player, mate. We don't want you to be a manager realistically. So then he ended up being just a player for like half a season or a season.
Did Solskjaer have any management experience before?
He managed Cardiff City at one point.
Yeah, that's right.
He got
still a hell of a jump, like especially taking over a club in turmoil. No offense, Kurt.
He was at Molde in Norway as well before he won the league back to back, like 2 or 3 years in a row with Molde. I think that was it. I think it's just Cardiff, Molde, and United that he's managed. But I thought it was going to be Giggsy because Giggsy had that spell between Van Gaal and Mourinho, I think.
I think it was just after Van Gaal, so yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was going to be Giggsy at first, or Neville, and then Solskjaer was into it, and then Pochettino got the sack. So every name's been flying around. And I think that's where teams are doing well now, is that they're actually giving managers a chance. Eddie Howe at Bournemouth, he's been there seasons and they've been in relegation battles. They've been in mid-table battles. But he's just doing well consistently and is not a big 6 club, so he's getting the chance a lot more than just because you're not winning the first 10 games as manager doesn't mean you have to get the sack.
Yeah, a lot of managers nowadays, they aren't given time at all, really. I mean, was it Frank de Boer? He's had the shortest reign of any manager or something. It was like 4 games when he went to Palace, I think, and they hadn't scored and they hadn't got any points from about 4 or 5 games in the sack. Now, yes, it was an abysmal record starting the season, no goals, 4 or 5 losses on the bounce. It's very bad, but he's a new manager, it's a new squad. You've got to give, I'd say, managers a bit more time, which modern football doesn't really allow.
Yeah.
You're only really given, I'd say, if you have a bad run of 5 or 6 games, your job is now on the line. Doesn't matter what you've done before.
Claudio Ranieri.
Like, you could be top of the league,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden you're losing 5 or 6 games. The board's looking at you and thinking, I don't know.
Wait, you just mentioned Claudio Ranieri. Like, you win the league with Leicester City, and you have a slightly bad start to your next season, and you're gone. I mean, like, obviously, it's harsh, but I suppose that's modern football. Like, you've got to be consistent.
Well, I think the Leicester thing was as much like the players running the club as the manager running the club, because for some reason half the squad fell out with Ranieri. I don't really know why. And they all turned on him, and then they basically threw a temper tantrum to the owners saying, we won't play unless he's gone.
Yeah.
And that just breaks down a total relationship with the club, and unfortunately one's going to have to go, and the owner's not going to go, well, I'm not going to get rid of Jamie Vardy, am I? So.
It's the same thing that happened with Unai Emery at PSG with Neymar. If for whatever reason he wanted to leave Neymar out the squad. Neymar went to the owner and said, "No, I'm playing." And then Emery's stabbed in the back, and he can't do anything about it. Neymar had the power at PSG.
Well, yeah, you pay that much money for somebody.
Yeah,
You've got to listen to him.
I mean, when you got a squad like PSG, Mbappe, Neymar, Verratti, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, the chances are that the bigger players, because they bring in more money than the manager does, you know, sales, shirts.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get Claudio Ranieri on the back of your shirt, are you?
No,
probably not.
But you look at a team, let's take Sheffield United, for example. Next season, they flop and end up in 18th, 19th. Wilder's probably end up going to get a sack, you know what I mean? Because it's not as consistent as what you've done in this season.
Yeah, but, you know, you got to sort of, you're not going to say, oh, we had a good season, it was probably just luck. Well, it'll be all right if we get relegated next season. You're going to want to stay there. You're going to want to move from strength to strength. And while I will admit, you know, we have been sort of, I guess, the underdog of the league for this season. It's not going to last forever.
No.
But you hope that you're going to move on from that and keep making positive movement. I think if we do end up in the sort of boggy end of the table, then you might, but you know, by Christmas, if it's not looking good, we're losing games and we're conceding lots of goals, we're going to want to look for a change. If something's not working, you can't just sit there and hope that it magically starts working. You need to change something, and you know you don't want to see that. But I think as long as it's obviously like, you know, not by the end of August and we're 14th, all right, get out. It's as long as it's not rash. You can sort of tell when a club has made a rash decision, because following that decision, whether it's a sacking or a player being bought or sold, it doesn't improve. It declines further, which is what we saw with like, you know, the sort of string of managers that Manchester United had after Fergie. It didn't get better, but you get positive changes where they've been considered, like usually with like the appointment of Klopp at Liverpool. It got better because you know they had to make a change and they considered it, instead of just being sort of frivolous and flippant about it. They you know, did their research.
But even with Klopp, that was a long-term strategy, because the first 2 seasons he was there, they didn't really do a lot. Maybe they briefly broke into the top 4, but they weren't the team that they are now. So I think
no, not at all. But
I think when you
considering what they came from,
when it isn't thought process like with Jurgen Klopp, I think that is as much the owner's thinking or the board thinking, right, where do we want to be in 5 or 6 years' time, rather than where do we want to be just next season. So I think the right appointment has to be that sort of level of planning.
There is definitely a tendency for managers to become scapegoats very quickly for a club's problem.
Yeah.
United with Van Gaal, Arsenal with Wenger, who else? Tottenham with Pochettino.
Yeah.
So like, it's very, very easy to put all of your problems at your manager's door and expect them to go away when he goes.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, it's not always the case.
It's not always the case, and sometimes it is the players' fault. You know, players, like you said, Vardy will stop playing for Ranieri, or, you know, Neymar for Unai Emery, or whatever it may be. Like, players will stop playing. Mourinho and Pogba ended up falling out, you know, because players just, like, there's more going on behind the scenes than what people realise than what's put on the pitch.
But you have to remember as well, footballers are employees and managers are employers. It is a job at the end of the day. And from jobs I've had in the past, I'm sure you guys are the same. There's jobs where I've hated the manager and the people I work with. It's not going to get on. So you can have a row with them. So Balotelli, for example, with Mancini, they had a bust up or something on a training pitch. Because there's been the odd day where I've wanted to come in and punch a manager in the throat. It happens. Ooh.
I
You
think
know, you pick up an extra shift. You want a decking one. You know.
Can't wait for Aidan to declare that he's jobless next week.
I mean, I am, but there's some reason. It didn't punch me down during the face. I didn't do it.
Your manager's watching this, filling out a lawsuit.
P45.
It's another consequence of the rising amount of money in football. Players will wield more power if the club has paid more for them.
Yep.
Well, who's the club paying more for? Are they paying more for the manager or the footballer? Nine times out of 10, it's going to be the footballer. So that's the asset that they're going to protect.
Yeah. Right, that's a good point to round up. Let's switch it up a bit because we were meant to touch on this last week, but we never did. Let's throw some visuals in there now. We'll mix it up. Ooh. So I will share, hopefully you guys should see it, but I will share the screen of some new Premier League football kits, if you guys can see all them. So we've, just in case the visuals aren't clear for everybody, like watching this back at home, we'll work left to right from top row to bottom, and we'll just discuss the new kits, because these things now have been knocking around for ages. Friendlies, new seasons, transfers, you know, all this info starts coming out. So first off is Arsenal's third kit, I believe, which is purple and green with like an astro effect. Is it like stars and planets?
It's like a smoke effect. It's almost like smoke, like the purpley smoky texture. I don't like it. Just putting it out there. Look, I think they could do a lot better. I think, like, one of the tests I have for a football shirt is, if you took away the sponsor and the badge, would you consider that a shirt that team could wear? I can't. Like, it's just not an Arsenal. It doesn't scream Arsenal. Like, obviously, you've got your main kit, which is red, away kit, which is yellow, and you can do pretty much whatever you want with the third kit. But again, like, for me, the purple just isn't a colour that screams Arsenal. Purple and green.
I mean, below it, we've got a purple Newcastle shirt.
Now, I don't know how genuine this is, but I have seen it leaked online. I don't like it. It's very boring. It's just a purple T-shirt.
I wonder how much they paid someone to design that, and they came back with that. Just like all purple.
I mean,
it's minimalist.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Like, there's nothing inherently bad about it. But it's just a purple T-shirt.
Yeah.
I could do that. Like, I could colour something in purple and throw some white on it. There you go. And give us some money. There you go.
Even looks like you've got the sort of purple ribbon around the edge, like on a polo shirt.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of pattern, like, where the seam joins.
You could see, like, you're in a walkabout or like a spoon or something, and you see some lad 3 o'clock on a Sunday or a Saturday coming in with that skin tight, properly tight, and he just walks in like that. Like a Stella, please. Like, it just looks like something that an unappealing person would wear. Like, I don't like it.
An unappealing person.
I can't swear, can I? So, the best I can do.
An unappealing person.
You're an unappealing person, sir.
I mean, it's a good point to talk about. How much does money show in a kit? We'll get on to your Man City and your Juventus two kits time, but a United red kit is something that's always expected every season. But what is the necessary need for someone to throw a paintbrush dipped in yellow at the top?
It looks
like
a carpet, like a community centre or something.
The thing, I don't particularly understand myself, like the whole hoo-ha about kits, and they have to be as, you know, even more artistic and ever improving in the
Nigeria
designs and stuff like that. Yeah. Like the Nigeria one, they look nice, but, you know, it's end of the day, you sort of want your I'm a bit of a sort of, I like classic stuff. You know, a Manchester United red kit, that's fine. But it does look like a Wetherspoon's carpet.
Yeah.
It does.
And I don't think you should try and alter something that's so pertinent to that club. So you got the classic red, like I said, with Manchester United, and that's that for me. I don't think you should try and change it. Do whatever you like with the alternate kits and sometimes the away kits, but you shouldn't change the home kit too much. I think it doesn't bode well.
Yeah, less is more when it comes to your home kit, the kit that you're going to be wearing most often. You don't want one that's instantly going to divide the fans the second.
Yeah.
If you stick to simple design, unless it's boring, so long as it's not boring like that Newcastle one, if you stick to a simple design, there's very little that can actually go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it a few years ago. Was it I think it was 2015 or 2016 maybe, where Cardiff changed their home colour from blue to red.
People actually gave up on the club for that.
There was an uproar about that, of course, naturally, because they're known as the Blues. Or the Bluebirds or whatever, and their kit has now been changed from blue to red. So
memo.
Also some reds.
I mean that leads on to the next kit of Leicester's away red kit.
Yeah, again,
it looks like a tube of toothpaste. You should have Colgate
fresh.
No, I know what it looks like. It looks like, you remember when Middlesbrough were in the Prem a few seasons ago?
Yeah.
That. It's Middlesbrough's home kit. That's what it is.
Yeah. I never like it when a badge changes as a result of the colour of the shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, because that just shows that it clashes with the colour of the club. And so, it's just...
I feel like a while ago the kits were based on the colours of the badge. So for Arsenal, for example, you had the red, but then also that's the primary colour of the badge, but then the white as well. That's the secondary colour, and also the little Gunners little cannon is like gold, isn't it? So you sort of have the yellow. It kind of fits together. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
In the Leicester badge, you've got blue and white and like a little bit of yellow, and then you come out of red.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't quite read well with me.
A lot of people's uproar with this is the fact that it screams Forest, their local rival.
Yeah, it does a bit.
I think that's, to me, that's a little bit far-fetched. I just think it's a bad kit more than anything. Just looking at it, it's they could have done a hell of a lot better on that.
I mean, red and blue is Chelsea's. I think.
Okay,
that's bad.
That's just poor. That's a really bad kit.
I tell you what, with the number 3 on the front as well, Marcus Alonso is going to get a lot more bookings. Ref shouting, number 3 again.
I think this is their third. Is it their third kit? Yeah, their third kit. So I showed it just to clarify. It's all the same kit. Their third kit.
Oh, I see. I was thinking that was the home kit, to be honest, because obviously it had the blue in. But
oh god, if that was their home kit, it'd be riots.
Yeah, I was going to say
the home kit is this, and it's another brand of 3, but with the word 3 instead of the letter 3.
Whoa, mixing it up.
The third kit, you can get away with it being more outrageous.
Yeah,
because you're not going to play in it as often. But at the same time, you want kit sales. No, you will always. So don't design a kit that people are not going to like. It's at least a good portion of the fan base are not going to like instantly.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what you were saying earlier, Toby. I wouldn't associate red with Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd associate blue and yellow. And maybe white. Those are the 3 colours I'd go for when I think Chelsea. But red, not at all.
Yeah, red. Yeah, it's the same problem Leicester have got, isn't it? Red is just not a colour you associate with them.
No, not
the only reason I can think there might be a bit of psychology in this. a team wearing a red kit facing a team wearing a blue kit, the red kit will win more often. That is, I've heard that fact before.
You what?
If a team is playing in a red kit, they are more likely to win than a team playing in a blue kit, apparently.
Oh.
See, this
Is that what Chelsea have gone for? To just
football meets science. That's an excuse more than anything.
I mean, when we won that penalty shootout in the World Cup, we were wearing red.
We were wearing red. There you go.
We won the World Cup itself in '66.
Yeah,
wearing red.
We need to drop the white immediately. We need to drop the white.
Yeah. we went the wrong way going with blue.
Yeah.
We need to go red.
Maybe
every
that's
team needs to wear red from now on.
Yeah, maybe that's where England are big. That's why the golden generation failed. They never
didn't play red enough. That was the problem.
I mean,
it, lads. Get on phone to Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, get them in red.
Gareth, for the love of God, just play them in red. Don't ask me why. Just play them in red.
I mean, United should be doing better than what we are doing then at this rate, if that's the case.
Well, no, that's
you did win the last two Manchester derbies, and they were playing in blue, and you were playing in red.
That's true. That is true.
Foolproof, mate. Can't argue with science.
Next up, we have the first proper money kit, I would say, which is PSG's third kit, sponsored by Nike X Jordan.
I mean, to be honest, I'd say that looks more like Arsenal's kit than Arsenal's kit does.
That looks like Arsenal's kit from that last season in Highbury. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. When we did copy Nottingham Forest colour. We literally took the same colour.
Yeah.
But that's, for a third kit, that's not too bad.
It's PSG. It's kind of like royal colours, gold and purple. They're a money club. It's a money kit. It's a different sponsor than what they normally have on their home kit, which PSG like to do. For some stupid reason, they like to play their home games in their away kit. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. But I guarantee Neymar and Mbappe will be streaming down the wings of the Parc de Princess, or whatever you call it, in that. It's just
Parc de Princess.
It's called game for a reason.
What was it? They played Real Madrid in Champo.
Yeah.
And PSG, who play in blue, and they were at home, played in white. And Real Madrid, who play in white normally, played in blue. At a game at Paris, I remember watching the game and thinking, did PSG sign Hazard? When did this happen? And why is Mbappe at Madrid? What's going on? It was a very strange game.
I do really like the gold and the black for the badge.
I like the logo.
Yeah, really I do really like that. That does look quite cool.
I mean, it's just getting... I think it's the fact that they're trying to promote the fact that they've been sponsored by Jordan, and like they're trying to draw attention to this whole middle area. You know, they've lined the badge around with gold. They've got the contrast in white and black, and then the purple is just there like, bang, we're here now.
I don't really like the black and white. I think just stick with one colour. So maybe have the sleeves all black, or just have the whole thing purple, or have the sleeves white.
Have the whole thing purple?
Really? You want it? Screw it.
what, like Newcastle's?
But with the gold, it would look all right. Whatever. No, I'd say
purple and gold is okay, but purple and white, absolutely not.
I'm not having that. I'm not about that purple and white life. Purple and gold, I'm about. But...
Purple and gold, that would be an interesting kit.
I mean, there's some very interesting kits out there. I mean, I'm looking at the moment, this isn't on the document because I couldn't get the... You have to basically pay for the rest of the article, and I'm not doing that. But next up is Juventus's on the right, which...
It looks like an Action Man accessory.
Yeah, it looks like they're going on safari.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I'm quite a fan of the orange and black. It does work. Now you said it looks like an Action Man piece of kit, then it's ruined it. But until you said that, You said that. I like orange and black. I think it works
I like
well.
the colours. I just don't like the pattern. I think if it was like stripes or something, I could get behind it. But it looks like if I bought that and I went home to my mum, she'd take it off me and try to wash it because it looks like there's something on it.
Or like someone had stepped on a Jaffa cake.
Literally, yeah.
Since you said Action Man, I'm just imagining Ronaldo commando crawling across the
Go. He's off.
But their home kit is just simple black and white with a weird pattern.
Oh, that's
what is that? Is that their home kit?
Yeah, you can buy it now with Adidas.
That is, no offense to them, but that is awful.
Brave. That's a brave move.
It's changing the home kit. It's like the one that's most commonly associated with the club, and it's going to divide opinion.
Well, the one they had this season, different to what they usually had. It's black and white, but it's just black one side and white one side as opposed to the stripes, which they usually do.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I don't dislike that one.
That's true.
I mean, each club is just trying to throw in, because Juve are playing away with, away versus PSG. They're trying to bring out the fancy kits. Before the match, Juve are wearing this pre-match training shirt.
It looks like a tie-dye top.
It looks like something I'd wear at a festival.
Why is everyone going so crazy? Like City shirt as well. Like,
let's go to the City shirt.
I actually quite like it. No, to be fair, I actually quite like it. Like, it's their third kit, isn't it? That's not their home kit.
Yeah, that's the third kit.
Yeah, see, third kits, you can get away with being crazy. I actually, I may be alone here, but I actually do like it. Because the colours are still pretty good. And there's nothing wrong with having a third kit with an outrageous design, so long as it's not bad.
It looks like what you decorate a bathroom in a restaurant.
Yeah, so it's calming.
It's Paisley though. Like, Paisley does not belong on a football shirt. These football shirts, they're like that. I'm not sure exactly what kind of material it is, but it's smooth and sort of silky and stretchy. Paisley belongs on like a shirt or maybe even a fancy pair of trousers. It's not.
To be fair, Kurt, I could really see you wearing that.
Yeah, I'd wear it if I had buttons down the middle.
I mean, that reminds me of, in that English GCSE and the teacher goes, why has the curtains got this pattern and it's blue on? That is this.
I think someone who works for the Prince or whoever it is that owns City has said, right, I know what I'll do. I'll research into Manchester culture. And they found that what's his face, geezer from Oasis, and looked at what he's wearing. He's probably wearing a stupid Paisley bucket hat at one point.
I mean, the home kit is cracked tiles.
Yeah,
Let's see. I can't put them on the document because I can't take them both. But
well, it's got like white, like cracks on it.
Yeah,
it's got the sky blue. I think that's, as long as you've still got that, it's not changed too drastically, really.
And the final kit we've got is this one. I think, Kurt, you picked this one out. Is Ajax's? Is this their away kit or home kit?
I think it's their third kit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be so bold to say that they would do that as their first kit, considering it's a very iconic design.
It looks like an optical illusion.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those.
Does, but I rate that. I think that's really nice.
That is, it is nice. I do like the colours. I like how it gets lighter.
It's still on like the sort of same colour scheme as the past kits. I'm not sure what the away kit looks like, but you got a kind of not a monochromatic theme, but there's something that's white or grey in it every step.
Yeah, their away kit was this
black and gold thing for a while.
Gone.
Yeah, so it's a sort of tealy gold, grey kind of colour, and then you've got that a similar thing with the third kit. It's not like you've gone from like blue to white to red and blue.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have a Sheffield United kit because they haven't announced anything for 2020 to 2021 yet. So we've got United, Arsenal and Newcastle, but no Sheffield United kit. But I'm pretty sure you're probably just going to stick to red and white.
As long as we don't go blue and white, we'll be all right, won't we?
Sheffield Wednesday takeover at Sheffield United.
Oh, brilliant.
Another kit that I think looks really nice. Have you seen PSG's new home kit?
No.
They've gone for a much wider bit down the middle.
Home kit 2020.
Yeah, the new home, I do think it looks, because in the past, the middle bit has been getting thinner and thinner and thinner. But now they've gone for it's much chunkier.
Is it that one? Or behave with these cookies.
I'll find it for you.
It's like this, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that looks nice.
That looks nice.
I like that.
Mm.
It's like the kits that tend to work are the ones that go for the more retro, traditional design that don't try to be too fancy. So I think there was a City kit, it might have been last season, which didn't do loads but had enough on it to make it stand out. It's those kind of kits that are the best ones, really. I think don't do too much to it. Make it smart. People will buy it.
Yeah. And that's like why clubs try and promote their shirts now and get as much detail or sponsorship in it, because they know it's money and they can show how rich and wealthy they are, like symbolism of.
Arsenal with the Visit Rwanda. That's just blatantly a money venture. There is
Everton have got flipping Angry Birds on their sleeve. That can't be anything to do with football or charity. That's just money.
Yeah, like you wouldn't put it on unless they paid you an extortionate amount. You wouldn't put that on your shirt. They've had it for, I think, 3 seasons in a row now.
Mm-hmm. We've got some kind of Storm gain, which is some kind of weight thing or protein thing, I think.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Never heard of it. I just know it's on a Newcastle kit.
We've got 2 more points to talk about, including the roundup. So we've got still to decide. I'll leave this for you now so you can think. We've got to decide right back and left back for the all-time Premier League XI, which we'll come to at the end. But whilst I'll leave that there for you guys to think, we've got to touch on kind of a big thing now with the Premier League coming back. You know, the Prem's back, 17th, I think it is. We get the Premier League back. We need to touch on, obviously, the fact that it's been away for so long and now how current events have impacted its return, i.e. the feel of football with no spectators.
Well, because they've started it already in Germany. I think Spain kicked off, or are going to kick off recently or something.
Last night it was, yeah.
Well, last night. Like, from what I've seen, it's not the same because the atmosphere's gone. But given the circumstances, I think it is the best we can hope for. It would be worse if it wasn't even in a stadium. Like, I know they were originally planning on doing like I think they had St George's Park, and they just split different pitches up.
Yeah.
And just do like a training pitch, and that would be the game. Like, that would be horrendous. I'd watch it, but I don't think I could stick with it. But in an empty stadium, I think it'll do for what we've got. It's the best we can do. So,
I'd say the vast majority of fans would rather see the football played with no atmosphere than not see the football played at all.
It's better than cancelling the league.
Yeah,
definitely. But I think still like you said, it is different, and the spectators take a huge weight of that difference because of, it's not often that the manager and like the 4 coaching staff are really going to drum up and start batting the side of the stadium when they get a corner. And I know at Sheffield United at Bramall Lane, we've got the Greasy Chip Butty song, and unless they're going to play, I don't know if they're still going to play that through the speaker at Bramall Lane, but that's like a huge part of the match. It's like the ritual for the kickoff, first and second half. So just not hearing that will be quite eerie, to be honest. And yeah, I think it will be different, but like we say, we can't really so it's the best we're going to get, really. And I think, and to have crowd noise now imported from FIFA, which I think is a great idea.
As long as we don't do what I think it was the Japanese league did, where they put sex dolls in the crowd.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
yeah. And they tried to claim that they weren't sex dolls.
Yeah,
that's obviously.
They're all sat there.
Just imagine Chris Basham absolutely skying a pile driver and knocking out Winnie the Pooh in the process.
I mean, if we do use those kind of dolls, I mean, it might change celebrations a little bit.
Oh god,
get a bit more involved,
What I hope though is what doesn't happen. As it did with Haaland's first goal, the first goal of the no spectator generation, where he starts trying to celebrate and then he sort of looks around a bit awkward, like there's no one here. Why am I doing this? But he carries on anyway.
It's how he went to the crowd. He ran past where the crowd would be and went. It's like that. There's no one there.
You can see it when he runs in that direction. You can see him halfway through. It's like when you're in town and you realise you've gone the wrong way. You don't want to show it, but you sort of like.
Just come on.
Get in.
Style it out. Just style it out.
Let it go.
I think would be hilarious if they've been talking about having fans on monitors, so fans watching at home, filming them. So, like, I've heard. Can you imagine that? Like, just the player,
big Kev on screen,
one person looking down on them.
It's like proper boomer camera, where it's like you can see all his chins.
Someone who doesn't know how to operate their camera, so it's like this. Yeah, go.
Well, something good that they did in Germany, I think it was Mönchengladbach, they had this thing online where you could pay a certain amount of money and they'll get a cardboard cutout of yourself and they'll put that in the stadium. It's kind of weird, but I think it could work if you get like all the money's going to charity or something. I think it'd be a nice little idea. I'd like to go to St James's Park. I haven't physically been for like 7 years, so it'd be nice for cardboard.
That'd be great. You're seeing a stadium full of cardboard cutouts.
But just me. I'm going to be the only one there. Make sure it's just me.
Just you all.
Look down and telly.
But does it give home teams now the same sense of playing at home? Like, teams fear going to Molineux, Bramall Lane, because them teams have the backing of their home crowd, Manchester derbies, London derbies. Our team's going to have the same feel of playing at home or away.
I mean, they probably will at the Etihad, because there's never anyone there anyway.
A stadium that you play in, week out, will feel more comfortable to play in than going away, like regardless of whether there's a crowd there. But having the crowd behind you, definitely, they're called the 12th man for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Players on.
And I imagine it's not quite as spurring when you don't get that sort of that roar and the clatter of everyone's seats as they're standing up and they're flipping backwards. When you're running down the wing, you're not going to get that kind of. It's almost like a second wind that pushes you along. Everyone else's movement comes together and like drives you forward. I think that could be what part of the reason why we haven't found the Bundesliga as exciting.
Yeah.
There's not that kind of sense of anticipation anymore, because all you can really hear is obscure German phrases. It doesn't quite read as well as 17,000 fat angry men screaming good.
Every now and then you just hear nine. Every now and then you hear a German phrase.
And when you've got a robot that is Haaland, good word answers or interviews.
No, just looking at his Wikipedia page just gives you like this. Where's he? What's his nationality? He's Danish, isn't he?
Norwegian.
Like born in Leeds. Like German.
His dad used to play for Leeds, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah.
Like he's an oddball, but
he's an oddball, but he can put the ball in the back of the net.
But yeah,
That's
like,
all he needs to do.
that's all you need. Like,
How did it feel scoring your first goal back after this long break? Yeah, I scored.
yeah, just how does it
Back
feel?
to the studio.
Let's go. Oh, a bit down. No crowd reaction at all.
Played a nightmare for journalists.
But we're getting somewhere with it, and as long as the season can finish, we'll be all right. And as long as we don't end up on points per game, like leagues have, like I was saying before this call, there are leagues out there that teams have finished second, but because they've got more points per game, they've actually won the league.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some way to compensate for, like, I know, because using Sheffield United as an example, we've got a game in hand against everyone else, and so at Villa, hence why we're sort of playing first. But, you know, it would be extremely unfair to deny the opportunity of gaining 3 more points just out of bad fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine every single league putting a clause in exactly like they have in France, which is saying if for whatever reason the season is postponed or stopped, there is an immediate plan that can be put in place. Because the problem that leagues have had is that no one knew what to do. There was no protocol for how you deal with this situation. I think they'll be writing that fairly quickly.
Well, I mean, because the League One and League Two seasons have finished now; they've ended them, and I know there are quite a few teams that are very disappointed because they've missed out on things. So Sunderland will have to stay in League One for another season. I'm trying not to be happy about that.
Every cloud, Aidan, every cloud.
It's quite hard because when we went down to the Championship, there's quite a famous interview now where somebody's interviewing Sunderland fans saying, "How do you feel about Newcastle being top of the Championship?" And the Sunderland fans went, "Well, yeah, but if we were playing Rotherham and Burton Albion every week, we'd be top of the league as well." Now we'd League One. Oh, it's fun. It's the only good thing about being a Newcastle fan. That and the maybe takeover.
The demise of another club.
Yes. It's funny what's not happening to you.
Oh, God.
I think on that note, we can, again, get some more visuals up, share this. So I'm in the process of creating the starting 11 for the Premier League XI. I chose red and black kits because I know this is a colour kit combination that all 4 of our teams have in common. So Sheffield United and Arsenal have the red, and Newcastle, United, Arsenal have the black, I believe.
Sponsored by Oral-B.
That was a big money deal.
Obviously, what we'll have on our shirt.
Oral-B.
Just to clarify, they are other, toothbrush brands available to buy. Don't please. We need to decide a left back and a right back. And also, as one, I went for a 4-3-3 defensive with CDM and 2 centre mids and then wingers, but we can change it to a good old Sven-Goran Eriksson 4-4-2 or a 4-1-2-1-2 or a 4-3-3 attack with a cam instead of a CDM. We could play around with it.
Yeah.
But this week's decision is the fullbacks. We need a right back and a left back.
Well, starting off with right backs, got to go Gary Neville.
I was going to say Gary Neville.
He's been around for so long and he won so much.
Yeah,
and
he was part of a great team.
But yeah,
and not only that, just footballing intelligence. Just like you've seen it in his punditry. He can read a game like the back of his hand. He's brilliant at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's unfortunately there's not really much in the way of like these wing back positions from beyond like 6 or 7 years ago, because it's definitely progressed since then. Nowadays we have the likes of Andy Robertson and Trent, who are sort of pushing forward, getting involved and creating more. So they're being noticed more because attacking players are always sort of noticed more than the defensive ones. But in terms of, I guess, a classic right back, you can't really look much further than Gary Neville. I can't really think of many others who aren't at the kind of mature age yet that would compare, really.
I mean,
not really.
Alex Ferguson called him the best right back he ever knew. So that's if you ever needed proof.
Yeah, I mean, the only other contender that I really had on the list was Ashley Cole at right back, and then we had a new left back because I know Ashley Cole did both sides at Arsenal.
Ashley Cole was going to be my left back suggestion.
But if you guys are happy to stick G Nev in there, then
yeah.
Oh God,
I think I'll go Neville, yeah.
Go on, get it.
I'll put G Nev because just so people don't get confused with
Phil Neville in our ultimate Premier League. He's the real moneymaker.
And left back, then I think there's only really two contenders in my eyes. I'd say either Ashley Cole or Patrice Evra.
Yeah, I'd say those two are up there.
I might be being a bit difficult here, but I would possibly propose Gareth Bale. He did start off as a left back, and that's where he really took off. He was like absolutely electric at left back.
I wouldn't say he was better than Cole on his day, I think he was a better winger than he was a better left back.
I'd say that Bale produces more moments of magic than Ashley Cole ever did, but Ashley Cole very rarely put a foot wrong.
Yeah,
he never really produced anything brilliant, but he was so reliable and so consistent in his game.
Well, he was a better defender.
Yeah.
Bale was a better attacking fullback, whereas Cole was a much better defending fullback, which is the job. You are part of the back line. You're meant to defend first.
Yeah, but again, like we're sort of coming to that kind of dichotomy of defensive left backs or fullbacks and the attacking ones. And now we've got the attacking ones. I'm sort of thinking Bale in a period that was still very much balancing on the kind of defensive side. He was obviously moved up because of that. But do you think now, if Bale came through, like he did through Southampton, got transferred to Spurs, started impressing, do you think he'd actually be moving up to left mid, or do you reckon they'd just stick him at like left wing back?
I think it would depend on certain circumstances, like which coach he had, who preferred him in what position, because he can play both. You're not wrong. And he wasn't about, like, there was a game against, I think it was Inter Milan in the Champions League, where he basically just left Mike on in his pocket for the entire game.
I watched that. It was unbelievable.
And you're right, because he did come out as a left back, and then he moved on to be a left wing, and he was a very good left back. But for me personally, I just think Cole was overall a better player.
Yeah, I definitely agree in terms of longevity and consistency in the league, because obviously Bale moved to Madrid after 3 or 4 seasons of doing very well at Spurs, but I don't know.
I mean, the only other one, that Ashley Cole, Patrice Evra, you've had John Arnorisa, who was defensive and attacking. I'm going to say not the most technically gifted fullback that the Prem has ever seen.
He could hit him, though. Strike a ball.
He could.
Oh, yeah.
But that's about it. We've really struggled for good left backs in the Prem. Man City haven't had a solid left back in years. Chelsea, arguably, they had Cole for a while, and then Azpilicueta and
is it Emerson now? Is that what he is?
Emerson or Zappacosta, I think.
Or Marcus Alonso.
Marcus Alonso,
yeah.
Football has become, in the last 2 decades, football has become much more attacking, rather like when Mourinho was in his prime, it was all about defence.
Yeah.
It was all about building a team from the back. And now we're seeing all these strikers coming into the game like Salah, Aubameyang, Pepe, just like listing them off. And so the focus has shifted, which is why even teams like Liverpool, Klopp has been consistently criticised in the past for not having his defence sorted out. because he's focused on his front two sections. And so maybe the game will change again and we'll see the defenders coming back, the world-class defenders.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't mentioned Robertson, but I think he still needs 2-3 more seasons yet before he is.
Yeah, not for an all-time squad just yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, what is our decision, lads? Cole, Evra, Bale?
I think I'd probably lean towards Evra, really. I'm outnumbered on Bale, so I'll let that one go. But I think I'd probably lean towards Evra, really. He always seems to have a bit more. I always seem to notice him more on the pitch. And obviously, when you're younger, like when he was playing, I was probably about 10 to about 16. He always seemed to have a bit more about him than Ashley Cole did. I don't know, because obviously Toby's going to have more of an insight on Ashley Cole because he played for his club.
I think in terms of domestic success and European success, they're both pretty much on a par. Evra, obviously, with United, had more success in Europe than Ashley Cole ever did. But Ashley Cole had the invincible season behind him. You can't write off. He had the Premier League titles with Wenger, then moved to Chelsea, did very well. And so if we're going to talk about it in terms of domestic success, I think you'd have to give it to Cole. But then again, European success, you'd have to give it to Evra. But me personally, I'll probably vote just because Ashley Cole was so consistent and he was never, you didn't expect a standout performance from him, but you knew he could hold the left side together and you knew he could keep the ship steady.
Yeah.
And like, obviously I'm biased because he played for Arsenal, but
Aidan?
It's a very tough one, but solely for longevity reasons, going Ashley Cole. Evra was on his day world class. I remember he scored an absolute screamer against Bayern once, I think.
Yeah.
Cole, as a person, I hate him.
he's horrible.
You don't stream Cheryl Cole. It's a bad thing to do. It's a stupid thing to do as well. It's Cheryl Cole. Come on. But yeah, I'd go as a footballer, Ashley Cole.
Yeah, I think for me, so one of the turning points is that Ronaldo has said that Cole is the hardest fullback he's ever faced, and Messi has said that Evra is the hardest fullback he's ever faced.
It's just so difficult to pick between them, isn't it? Like, they're so equal.
But purely on the fact that, because right now, Kurt's gone Evra, Aidan's gone Cole, Toby's gone Cole. We've got Neville on the right-hand side. I'll be willing to give this United position up and give it to Ashley Cole because we've,
Look at Kurt's face.
I won the fight for Czech, so I'll take it. I'll take a loss on this one. It's fine.
Like biting his tongue.
We'll put Ashley Cole at left back. He was a good fullback at the end of the day, and he was consistent. The longevity. He's played in a league where there's been an array of different attacking wingers. And he's kept up with the game. He's produced man of the match performances. It's a shame he can never replicate it for England, but that's just because it's one of them. It's England, yeah. So I think they will be our two fullbacks for an all-time Premier League XI. Next episode that you guys will come on, we'll do the two centre backs, and then we'll work from there. I'll stop the share that screen. But yeah, that's all the topics covered for today's episode. We've done the all-time Premier League XI. Is there anything that you boys would like to add before?
5 more days to go. 5 more days to go.
5 more days. Ready to see Sheffield United on a regular spot. Chasing that Champions League dream.
I mean, what is going to happen to Champions League and Europa League? Because that's not been decided yet. We've not had a decision on what's going to happen in that tournament this season.
That's someone else's problem. I just want to watch football. I just want to. As long as they sort it out, and like
somebody gets it sorted, don't they?
Yeah, just sort it out.
But yeah, it will all get sorted eventually, and next season we'll see what's happening in terms of Europe and football, and how far we can get into next season before we're at a halt for something.
Oh, just imagine 2 seasons in a row.
Don't.
I don't think I could live with that.
I tell you what, if it does happen, those people that watch, you've heard it here first. All I'm saying is, I'm that guy. You've heard it here first. We have been the Super Sunday podcast for episode 4. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, turn on that bell notification so you can be notified when the next upload is. Also leave in the comments if you'd make any changes to our Premier League team XI, and I hope to see you all again soon.